She chuckled and shook her head no. He's a biker. His eyebrows shot up. Like Lance Armstrong stuff? She laughed, and he enjoyed the sexy sound coming from her lips. No, like in Hell's Angels. Oh, he smiled. There's nothing wrong with riding a hog. I've got one. He frowned when he remembered his bike was sitting at a rec yard somewhere because of his accident. Yeah, she frowned over at him, dropping his hand, and stepped back. I remember. He shook his head. It could have been worse. Besides, it wasn't my fault. He turned towards her and took her shoulders in his hands, pulling her closer to him. Again, he felt her tense. So you've said, she sighed. I don't want to start an argument. He smiled. Good. Then don't. He leaned a little closer to her. Cole, she shook her head. I can't. I don't want. I can't. I don't want. He didn't let her get any further. He had been holding back his feelings for her for too long, and he didn't give a damn any longer if she had anything going with the muscle-bound bartender or not. When their lips touched, he couldn't stop the sigh from escaping. It was nothing like their first kiss. Last time, the kiss had been fueled by anger. Now, there wasn't anything between them except the desire he felt running through his entire body. He pulled her closer and felt her shiver next to him. Her hands went up to his shoulders, and he felt a quick tug of exhilaration rush through him. His hands traveled over her body, enjoying her soft hips as he settled on the place that had driven him nuts for years. Her sweet little arse. You feel so good, he moaned next to her heated skin. She sighed as he ran his mouth down her neck and reached the top of her silk shirt. He wanted to tug the soft material off her in one quick motion, but knew this wasn't the time or place for it. Instead, he pulled her down to the soft sand and lay beside her. He ran his hands over her body slowly as he kissed her until he felt her breath hitch. Cole, she sighed, this really isn't a good idea. Sure it is, he smiled as he reached up to brush a strand of her long blonde hair away from her face. Every now and then, it's okay to do something reckless. She shook her head and sighed, then pushed on his shoulders until he leaned back. She sat up a little. I can't afford to be reckless. He leaned back on his elbows in the warm sand and looked at her. The light from the boardwalk was shining behind her head, making her blonde hair look illuminated. She tucked her legs up to her chest and wrapped her arms around them tightly. Why not? She closed her eyes. I promised myself I wouldn't turn out like my dad. I need stability. I need to know what tomorrow is going to hold. He chuckled. Pretty boring if you ask me. Her eyes flew open, and she looked down at him. And that's why this isn't a good idea. She rested her chin on her knees and looked off to where the moon was resting over the water. I'm a pretty stable guy, he started to say, but her burst of laughter stopped him. Wendy glanced over at Cole and stopped laughing when she saw the face he was making. Really? She dropped her arms from her knees and looked at him more closely. You're the most unstable person I know. He was silent for a while, and she wondered if she had crossed the line. Your dad must have hurt you real bad. He reached over and ran a finger up her thigh. She felt the heat from him zip up her leg. She tried to act casual about it and shrugged. He wasn't really around a lot. Actually, no one was around a lot when I was younger. What about your sister? She looked at him, then down at his hand as it played over her knee. The fact that she was wearing shorts, giving him access to her skin, didn't go unnoticed by either of them. She had lost track of what he had asked her. Her mind refused to think about anything other than the feeling of his hand on her leg. What about her? Her voice sounded strained a little. Someone must have been around with the kid. What about your stepmom? She sighed.